Hi, everybody. This is Pastor Torri from Union Congregational Church in Hackensack, Minnesota. And this is a time where we have set aside where I get to share stories with you. And the time is called Stories with Torri. And I wanted to give you this view tonight because this is an area in my office that is really special to me because it has so many items in it that tells a story. And each one of those things has a story behind it that is close to my heart. And during this time, I think it's important to surround yourself with things that remind you of different stories in your life that you can hold on to. It's almost as if it's a grounding that we have in our life. Like I know that there are items up there that remind me of something or someone that has taught me something, or a story that has brought me to where I am in life. And I think it's important to have things around you in life that remind you of where you come from and where you are now. And these are just a few of the things that I surround myself with so that I can be grounded and know that I'm okay. So tonight, I give you this view, and also I wanted to share two short stories with you tonight from Chicken Soup for the Christian Soul. They're shorter than last week's story, so I'm going to read two of them. And both of them are on the lighter side of things. So I also think that it's very important to remember during this time that we need to laugh and we need to enjoy this life and remember the humor. It's important to remember the humor, and we can laugh at things and be joyful, even when things don't seem to be going your way. Hi, Maddie. So our first story, like I said, is from Chicken Soup for the Christian Soul. And it is called Irreverent Manipulation. Little Benjamin sat down at the desk to write a letter to God asking for little baby sister. He started the letter like this. Dear God, I've been a very good boy. He stopped, thinking, no, God will never believe that. He wadded up the piece of paper, threw it away, and started all over again. Dear God, most of the time, I've been a good boy. He stopped in the middle of the line, again thinking, God will never believe that. So he wadded up the letter and threw it into the trash can. Benjamin then went to the bathroom and grabbed a big terry cloth towel off of the towel rack. He carried it into the living room and carefully laid it out on the couch. He smoothed out all of the wrinkles. And then he went over to the fireplace mantel, reached up, and very carefully lifted down the statue of the Madonna. He had often seen his mother carefully dusting the statue, and he had eyed it many, many times. And on several occasions, his parents told him that he could look, but was not allowed to touch the statue of Jesus' mother. Now, with all the care that he could muster, he had it in his possession. Benjamin gently placed the statue in the middle of the towel, carefully folding over the edges. He then placed a rubber band around the entire thing. He brought it to his desk, took another piece of paper, and he began to write a third letter to God. And it went like this. Dear God, if you ever want to see your mother again. And that was an excerpt from Moments for Mothers. And I thought that was kind of a funny little story to share. The second story is called Wear Out, Don't Rust Out. Can you be ready in 15 minutes? It was my friend Brandy on the telephone. I need your help. I'll be by to pick you up. 15 minutes. Where are we going? I asked. What should I wear? It really doesn't matter. You'll see. Or should I say, I'll see. Her infectious laughter crackled across the telephone lines. Then the dial tone alerted me that she assumed my willingness to participate in this secret mission of hers. If my hunch was correct, she was probably already out the door, in her car, and headed for my house. For what? I had learned not to try to second guess my friend. Brandy is the most interesting person that I know, and the most unpredictable. She always wanted to be a registered nurse. So she went back to school and became one when she was 63 years old. The real fun started when I graduated, Brandy had informed me. When I applied for jobs, I was told, we retired people at your age, Mrs. Branson. We don't hire them. Disappointed, but not discouraged, Brandy told God that if she didn't want her sidelined, if God didn't want her sidelined, God has to help her find her niche. She continued to apply for nursing positions and was finally hired by a retirement home. She was an instant hit with the residents. When they talked with her about their aches and pains, they found a sympathetic ear. After all, she had many of those aches and pains herself. They could tell that she loved her work and that she was genuinely concerned for them. When she did retire at the age of 70, the residents gave her the biggest party in the history of the retirement home. Soon Brandy was on my front door. I'm driving today, she announced. Jump in the passenger seat. Where are we going? I inquired as I locked the front door of my house. It doesn't matter, she replied with a Cheshire grin on her face. Marilyn, you know, I had to retire from nursing when it became too much for me to lift my patients. Now I found a new job. I'm going to travel with blind tourists. I'll get to go all the places that they've wanted to see. I'll be helping others, and I'll even get paid for it. Now, I need you to help me prepare. Close your eyes while I drive. I complied. Are you closing your eyes? Good, Brandy said. I have to practice. She began to describe the scenery of Seattle as she would describe it to a blind tourist. From time to time, she would interrupt herself and ask me, could you picture that? Was I clear? Did I make sense? Do I sound condescending? That day, I saw Seattle in a whole new way I've never seen it before. I learned one of Brandy's secrets as well. What makes her such an interesting person is her determination to wear out and not to rust out. My friends, thank you for sitting with me for this short time and just reading a couple of stories and remembering that stories are an important part of our life. As I said in the beginning of this video, that the scenery that you see before, everything that you see has a story behind it. The picture of Caesar, Maddie, you commented That was painted by a friend of mine from Wisconsin. And she is an artist. She used to be my roommate. And her name is Nina. And she is an incredible artist. And I sent her a picture of Caesar. Actually, I sent her 3 different ones. And I said, take your pick and surprise me. And she picked one of him in that pose and she sent it back to me. And she has captured, she's captured him in that picture, especially if you look at his eyes. Wonder if I can zoom in. Let's see. There he is. I think she's captured his eyes quite well. And he's actually laying under my desk right now. So, and there's also, let's see, that plant, the bamboo plant. I got as a gift from a friend of mine who was an office administrator in the hospital where I was a chaplain for a summer. And it was a really, really hard summer working in that hospital. I saw a lot of life and I saw a lot of death. I saw a lot of struggle and pain. And at the end of it, this office administrator gave each of the chaplains a bamboo plant so that we could put it in our office when we became pastors. And I have it in my office here, and it reminds me of that time that I spent as a chaplain in that hospital, and the lessons that I've learned and the things that I saw, and the hard work that nurses, especially nurses, do on a daily basis. Friends who are nurses, I don't know how nurses do what they do on a daily basis, and I admire them. I have come to admire them a lot. The plant, the little short plant, I'm going to zoom in on that one. That one right there. That I did. That is my masterpiece that I created when it was Christmas, and we went to a lady named Barb Lyle, went to her house, and she had all these decorations and plants and things like that all over her table, and she invited all the women from her church to come over and kind of create their own masterpiece. And that was my masterpiece that I created. And it looks kind of fumbled and jumbled right now, but I think it's beautiful. And I just remember how cool it was to be with all those women sitting around the table, and we laughed a lot. And then a lady named Mary decided that I didn't have enough stuff in my concoction that I did, and so she decorated it even more. So, and I thought that was the funniest thing in the world, that she would decorate even more, because I thought I had enough in there, but apparently I didn't. And so those are a few of the stories that are there. And like I said in the beginning, I surround myself with things that remind me of stories within my life where God has taught me different lessons and different memories that I have of friends or things that I've learned. Because I think, especially in times like this, it grounds me, and it helps me remember who I am and where I came from. So my friends, I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful evening. I hope that your days are good, that your nights are peaceful, and that your life is filled with story, and that God develops you and creates you into the person that God wants you to become. So peace be with you. Hopefully I see you Sunday. Sunday we have a church service at 9:30, and we will share a story about 2 men on the road to Emmaus. And that's one of my favorite stories. So have a good evening, and hopefully we will see you soon. Have a good night.